I heard that. We're going to turn this bare bones cabinet into this.
That really a real video?
In this video, we're going to build a bathroom vanity, and we're going to start with a bare bones cabinet box and turn it into a beautiful piece of custom furniture. Now, starting with our basic cabinet box, there are some very simple things we can do to make a standard cabinet look like furniture. 3 of the things we'll be doing. Number 1, custom end panels with fluting. Number 2, a decorative pedestal or footing. And number 3, a simple trim detail at the top to offset the detail at the bottom. But first things first, before we get to those things, I'm going to walk you through the process of building this face frame. When I first started in the cabinet shop, it seemed like all I was doing was sanding and masking, and then they started to let me stain some cabinets, and then eventually the finish man taught me how to lacquer some of those cabinets. And it took a little time before they finally let me start using some of the saws, but these were the typical saws of the day, even for cabinet making. Now we've got all the CNCs and all of the high-tech machinery. But it all started like this for me. That was something like 30 years ago. In fact, seeing some videos on YouTube, watching a guy in particular use the radial arm saw kind of takes me back, because when I started, we didn't use miter saws. We used radial arm saws with a cross-cut capacity of 25 inches. And that's how we did all of our cross-cutting back in those days. And we didn't think anything of it. Also, cordless drills were not common. They were just starting, and we didn't have the DeWalt or the Milwaukees then. It was the Panasonic 9.6 volt. I don't know what happened to those things, but that's where it all started. I have another video where I show the process of building this workstation. At the time of that video, I didn't have the drawer compartments there. And now, even since this video, I actually have the drawers in them. So this is a very usable workstation. If you get some time, go check that video out. It's in my channel. Got everything cut. Gonna mark it all out here so we can get through this process fairly quickly. We need to build this. So I'm going to need to pocket hole all of the rails, top rail, mid rails, bottom rail. Always want to check your material to see if there's a good side or a bad. You can hide the bad. There's a little knot here. I'm going to call that the back. Pneumatic with a pedal on this machine. It's about a $4,000 machine, maybe closer to $5,000, but well worth it. You see what it does. Gonna start with our rails. Gonna put plenty of wood glue on the ends. I'd like to try to usually keep it somewhat clean so it doesn't squeeze out all over the insides of the joints. And then these clamps will just clamp right down on both pieces. Take our extension driver. Done. So we're going to go down and put all of these rails on and come back and put the last stile on. A little note here, we use only square drive screws. I cannot stand Phillips. Just can't keep those things from stripping out. I think most shops are probably using square drive as well. Seems to be fairly common nowadays. Much better, much easier to use. That's our back side. That's actually the bottom. Here's the front. So you can see how that looks. I'm going to put our face frame on now using lots of wood glue. And then we're going to use a 18 gauge brad nailer. It's just paint grade, one little hole.
You know, thinking back when I first started, we used to use a 1/4-inch crown stapler, and it didn't matter whether it was, we hardly ever did paint grade back then. It was mostly stain grade. And man, those things just looked hideous, and they were a nightmare to try to take out. Our piece for fluting is set up and double side taped down, marked, ready to go. There will be 2 grooves, one here and one here. I've already set my stop marks here and here. There's our fluting, pretty simple. Sanded it to 150 for now, gonna put it on the end panels. You're talking about the radial arm saw. Having been watching some of these guys using the radial arm saw to cut tenons and things of that nature, thought I'd go find one. Got one on Facebook Marketplace for what I thought was a pretty good deal. It really $150, pretty good. Found several others less expensive since then because you can almost get them for nothing. But it had an old 1-inch thick particle board top on it. And tearing that off and making a video right now, you'll have to make sure to watch it. Putting a mahogany top on it with the Wood Ninja logo engraved in it and epoxied in 3 different colors. It is super cool. So definitely check back on that. This is our finished end panel. Goes on the left side of this vanity. I've already glued and nailed the face piece that we fluted to the MDF panels. Now I need to bring these 2 pieces, the panel and the face, I need to bring them flush together at the same elevation. What's the purpose of this V-groove, and is there a benefit? Well, you can see it makes a detail between the 2 pieces. And there's an obvious distinction then between the 2. And some people might say, well, I don't like that obvious distinction. I'd rather have this flow together as one piece. But the benefit for me is time savings, because I don't have to sand this face edge down quite as far. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be perfectly flat and smooth. And especially if this were veneer, there'd be a risk of burning through that veneer with the sanding pad. So this, I just quickly sand it until all the chatter marks come out. Lightly sand this by hand. We caulk that, call it done. And it actually looks good, and I think it's quite a bit easier. Got to cut some pieces for the pedestal. Got the OG bit. One little tip in the way of a warning: always route your detail before you assemble your pieces. Don't put your pieces together and then try to go back and route the detail in 2 pieces of trim that join together. One of the first pieces of furniture I ever built was for my soon-to-be wife, was a hope chest. And I built a pedestal around the bottom of the box and then tried to route it afterwards with the detail in the top. And doing that left this little strange, notched out piece on the corner that all I could do at that point was try to sand it and make it look natural. But to this day, it sits at the foot of our bed, and I look at that thing and think, man, if I only knew then what I know now, I could go back and fix it and do it right. But it is what it is. So if nothing else, it's a constant reminder that I was once a rookie. In the same way, I've been working on projects using epoxy lately, and something I've never really worked with before. So there's a constant learning process. So messing a lot of things up, trying to get that figured out. But in the end, it's all a learning curve. And as long as it's not for a client, then it's okay to learn like that. Cutting the shape for my feet, I'm going to use this pattern on both ends, on both pieces. You see where it curls up on the corners, the detail, marking my center line. And I'm going to take these two clamps and this 1/8" stick, and I'm going to press it against the two edges of the clamp, which are right on the corners. And I'm going to pull it back in the center to my center mark, right there. And from there, I'll mark my line, and it makes a nice arch. Really simple. Showing this on the larger piece, you see I've marked some points, the center, and halfway between the center and the two ends to make sure that I'm getting a good, perfect arch. So when I pull it like this, I can double check those points and make sure that we are actually connecting and have a good arch and not some wonky shaped thing. In the background of some of these scenes that you're watching, you'll see I do have a really nice large Laguna bandsaw. But the thing is that I've got the resaw blade on it, and I just don't feel like taking that blade off for a couple of small cuts. And this Ryobi bandsaw just really does a really good job for the price tag on it. So I pull it out of its little cubby hole, set it up on the table, and make my simple cuts. This edge sander is one of my favorite tools of all time. Most people just use it to sand the edge of their square or flat edge boards. I actually use it for carving and shaping. And I once made some legs for an island that looked like branches. I glued them up into square pieces and then edge sanded them with a lot of rounded and notched in details that looked like they were actually hewn out of some real branches. I have to say, I haven't used this sander yet, and I'm super happy with it. It's super aggressive. Really is sanding very easily, very nicely. Notice that sustainer box there on the left side. I don't know if you can see that. It says M12 drills. I use a lot of Milwaukee M12 drills and tools because they're so portable. But I keep them in these sustainer boxes because I can stack them, roll them, bring them back to the shop, and then just put them right back in a place on the shelf. And everything's clearly marked and has its own spot. It's so organized. I just love it. But I love the M12 because they're very portable, and really they do a great job for the portability. I'm about to put this pedestal on this cabinet, and you're going to see how much difference it makes to put a pedestal like this. Or you could use bun feet or anything like that. It just really takes a simple basic cabinet and just makes it look like a piece of furniture. It's amazing. So simple. Beautiful. If you're still here, then that means either my videos are getting better, or you fell asleep in your chair, or maybe you're just trying to help my channel grow. Either way, I'll take it. Also, I'd also take some liking and subscribing, and maybe even a comment. That'll definitely help my channel. Really need all the help I can get. Got a few last pieces here, and then here's our final product. And it looks just like the concept picture, I think. So that's a win. Ooh, who invited those guys?